Welcome to the Second Coming podcast with your host
Cassie Aersmith.
and me, 1692. So, last night's podcast was awesome. Everybody called in. Everybody liked it. It was really cool. Actually spent half the day reading comments.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then everybody had a whole list of stuff that we didn't ask last night. I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
What is kind of cool is we have a whole backlog of things to make podcasts about because there's so much.
Yeah. I didn't know there was so many people out there who were like, hey, man, I really wonder about this. What does this mean? Like, because you think after a while, maybe people are just kind of oblivious and not really thinking. But I think what it is people are so caught up in this rat race that they're still thinking these deep things. They're just like, oh, I'll never figure it out. So,
Well, what else sucks is school kind of bastardized all the cool shit that you wanted to know. Like, people wanted to know about space and going to space and cool stuff.
yeah. And
And
then,
you went to school and it fucking ruined it.
yeah.
Fucking ruined it. No one wants to hear about all the cool shit anymore just because of how terrible it all turned out.
Yeah, the internet kind of flooded your brain with useless shit to where you're like, oh, I really don't want to think about anything important.
And you didn't need to know all the layers of the earth and all their distances.
Yeah, I think sometimes people are like, it's just too much. I'll never figure it out.
Yeah.
I might as well just have a beer and a pizza and take a nap, But what was amazing was the list of stuff people asked, and I was like, wow, people are still thinking cool things. People are still like, I woke up this morning and they were like, hey, Rock, I don't even know where to start. There was literally a list of like 50 things where people were like, hey, could you ask this? And I was like,
I was
okay,
also
let's do it.
surprised about how we kind of thought people would get a bad taste in their mouth if we talked about religion and other things related
No,
to like
they were into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, almost everything we talked about where it was like, hey, let's talk about UFOs, let's talk about reality. Are we living in a simulation? And they're like, every question was like, yeah, but what about God? I was like, okay, all right. Okay, we can talk about the God thing then. Obviously, everybody's still into it. Listen, man, let's kick this off with some questions and let's get kind of into it. So, for everybody who sent stuff, I'm going to try and hit a bunch of the questions that you sent, and let's see how this goes. So, what do you got? What's the first one? What do we got on the list?
This one's kind of a soft-hearted one. What is the best way for a person to attain happiness?
Oh, we already figured that. We talked about that the other day. Artificial intelligence already found the answer for happiness, right?
Oh, yeah.
The definition of happiness, because people didn't have it for thousands of years. Philosophers and scientists tried to figure out, like, what's the definition of happiness? It's learning something new.
Yeah.
That's the definition of happiness.
We kind of went down a whole conversation about that one, I think, a few episodes ago. We even went over how even if you think it's not, it is.
Yeah. So it was crazy. It was like, if you are depressed, if you feel lost, if you're, whatever it is that you're going through, you got anxiety, learn something new. Literally just figure out a new hobby, a new interest, anything, study it, practice it, draw, paint, take photos, do things.
Obscure.
Yeah, it could be crazy.
I have nothing. I do a little bit, but I don't do a whole lot of computer stuff. And the other day, I was learning about how to make a bot farm, and it was oddly really interesting. And who would have known?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
cool.
At the end of the day, you're like, wow, man, I learned that. That's cool.
Fulfilled. It's like eating a whole big meal.
Yeah, that's crazy. What's the what are the other questions that were on the top of this? There were some good ones on there, like, is free will real or just an illusion?
That was our entire last podcast.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we talked about the entire last podcast. I have some here.
What you got?
What is the most important goal every person should have?
I think that's different for each and every single person, but the most important goal is to understand how you're part of this universe.
Yeah, so that means that this next question is completely off the list then.
Well,
How
think
replaceable are you?
Well, the human body is super replaceable, but to you, it's not replaceable at all, right? So if I own a factory and I've got 4,000 guys working in this factory, and one guy accidentally gets squished, I can get another guy. So he's replaceable. But to him, he is not replaceable. He is invaluable. He's the most valuable thing on the planet to him, right? Mm-hmm. So that's all perspective. There was some good ones on here, though, like if you could become immortal on the condition that you would never be able to die or kill yourself, would you choose immortality? That's... You would?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I think that's the goal, right?
Well, yeah, but you forget who you are. So that's what people don't understand. When people say, I want to live forever, they're talking about the body. But that's not you. You is the thing that lives in the body. So, like, if I cut your legs off, are you still you? Yeah. If I cut your arms off, you're still you. So if I cut your torso off and you're just a head in a thing, you're still you, right? I can still have a conversation with you. If I cut your head off and just take your brain and put it in a bucket, and you can communicate to me through a computer, are you still you? Yeah. So you are not the body. Mm-hmm. You're the thing in the body, right? So as long as that thing that's in you has been disseminated or spread out across the world, then yeah, you'll live forever, you know?
I guess that I changed my mind only on this one aspect. It depends on how long the government stands.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
If I can't overthrow the government, then game over. I am not sticking in this thing forever. Because then you're just a slave forever that can't kill yourself.
Well, and also, if you want to live forever, we define life as experience. So if you want to live forever, then you're going to have to be able to experience things forever. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I mean, but you were saying the mind is endless, so you can endlessly create things, so...
Yeah. That's the thing. If you can experience it, that's great. If you can create, that's great. Some people think that living forever is literally just their thoughts and their creations living on through other people. So there's that. I think... What other questions did they have on there? Oh, are you on the same? You're on the same list?
Yeah.
Okay, so like here. Okay, let's see. Oh man, this is so crazy. If someone you loved was killed in front of you, but someone created a copy of them that was so perfect, right down to the atomic level, would they be the same person, or would you love them just as much? Would you?
I mean, does that mean that their mind's still in that body?
Right. So there we go again. So you aren't the body.
Yeah.
So if you died, right, and then somebody created an exact copy of you, would I still love that person just as much? Well, no, because they don't have the same experience or thought patterns in them.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. But I didn't know if they were, like, we were reading or watching a video earlier, downloaded, because you can download me into something else. Yeah,
that's the video that we watched where scientists now have realized that you can download 13.5 billion years of information into DNA, into human DNA.
In that case, then absolutely, because you would be the same person, you would know all the same things. There was even a TV show about it, Altered Carbon. I know we both like that one. He could be the same dude in a female's body, a little boy's body, anyone's body. He was the same guy.
Yeah, it's the being that's in the body, right?
So,
yeah, that's the thing. So, when they were talking about downloading the entire 13.5 billion years of experience into human DNA, well, that explains kind of how we're here. You know, they tell you that, oh, there was caveman, and the caveman came from the monkeys, and the monkey came from the whatever, I don't know, a marmot, and the marmot came from a fish, and the fish came from an amoeba. Well, if you look at the world that we live in, I can show you an amoeba right now. I can show you a fish and a marmot. I can show you a lizard. I can show you a monkey. I can show you some aborigine, some tribes that have never seen people. They look like cave people, what we depict cave people to be. I can show you some caves. I can also show you people now. I can also show you some spaceships and people living with robots. So actually what I can show you right now is the entire history of the world right here on this planet. Living and breathing and moving all the things that they say, all the evolutionary patterns right now are still here. So I don't believe in the whole evolutionary thing, but
Well, you can't because it was literally disproven.
yeah, 100% disproven.
If they're doing that thing, once they're done with something, they just pass it on to you.
Yeah.
So just know that you're just getting leftovers and hand-me-downs.
Yeah, agreed. So how would humanity change if all humans' life expectancy was significantly increased? Let's say 500 years.
Well, once again, the video we were watching right before this said that before our DNA was changed.
Yeah, before they
we
changed.
lived for thousands of years.
Yeah, the caps on the chromosomes. I can't ever remember the name of it. It's it's a big word. Anyway, the caps on the chromosomes, and we can date that back about 200,000 years to where they were capped off. And they say that when they changed those on the mice in the laboratory, the mice lived 3 times as long as a natural mouse.
Yeah.
So 3 lifetimes in one mouse. So for us, that would be, we live an average of 100 years, so 300 years, right? Yeah. So I all I can see in that is there's a lot of variables. You're going to have to look at quality of life. You know, I know some people now that are 30, 40 years old who look like they're ready to kick the bucket, you know, super unhealthy.
Well,
I mean, there's some people right now who are 18 who are super unhealthy.
once again, that's also been, I don't, conditioned that
Mhm.
way. Before it was, those conditions weren't that way, so that's why
Yeah,
people were able to be like that, and they had a completely different mindset than we do now.
yeah,
Once again, it would be like talking to aliens. It would be talking to aliens.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're a total different health, a total different mindset, different skills, different thoughts, different languages. Yeah, it's not like talking to a human nowadays. So that's kind of crazy. If you could live 500 years, imagine the amount of things that you'd be able to focus on and get done correctly, right? So kind of now it feels like you're in a race to do these things, you know, before certain ages, which
Yeah,
kind of
everything's
doesn't make sense.
rushed and messy.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
It's like a trailer.
Yeah, it's strange. There was some weird questions that people sent. I don't even understand this one. By what standards do you judge yourself?
The highest, right?
I don't know what that means. I'm not sure about that one. So, you judge yourself by yourself. Are you happy with yourself at the end of the day?
Yeah, but I mean, you should judge yourself based on the best. If you're not thinking about the highest quality of everything, that means you're thinking about lower qualities,
Yeah.
and then that's just what you are. Cause like,
Or someone else. If you're picturing like, oh, I wanted to be like The Rock, or I wanted to be like, I don't know, a supermodel, or Einstein, or whatever. Then I guess, yeah, you could judge yourself against that. Or you could judge yourself against a culture or a religion, or, you know.
it doesn't even necessarily have to be another person, but just I learned this in track. You should never race next to the person beside you when you could just run as fast as you can, and you, even if you get first place, you can get first place by a half a second or 3 seconds.
Yeah,
And that's a big deal.
yeah,
So if just do it by the best of your absolute abilities and fuck everyone else, because even if you wanted to be like The Rock, so you get as good as The Rock and then you cap it.
Yeah.
Stop. When you could be better than
yeah,
him.
you could be way better. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. The standards are weird.
Perfection.
There was a lot of
About.
questions people sent, like, what is this? What are you capable of achieving? That question's
I liked this
arbitrary.
one. Is suffering a necessary part of the human condition?
No. The Buddhists say no. So the Buddhists say that, what is it? Attachment is the root of all suffering. So if you aren't attached to anything, you know, because in Western culture, we're attached to a lot of things. Like, we're attached to our way of life. We're attached to our home, our belongings, your kids, your family.
We were talking about that walking on the beach. You can give up.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're not attached to anything, then you have nothing to suffer, right? You're just experiencing each thing. The only reason that you suffer is because you're afraid to lose something, or you're afraid somebody else is going to have your thing, or whatever. But if you're not, then you're not suffering. You're just experiencing reality. So there's that. What else you got? Throw them at me. Are you reading the list?
Yeah. Would things get better or worse if humans focused on what was going well rather than what was going wrong? That's a fucking stupid question.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's like
whoever sent that, that's retarded. Yeah, of course you're gonna. Yeah, you want to focus on what's good, right? You want to focus on what's bad. I mean, I don't know. I guess if the forest is on fire, you need to focus on it, figure out how to put it out. Or you could be like, wow, this is really warm, and let it burn up, and be like, wow, those ashes are gonna grow good stuff. So I don't know how that works. What do you got?
Would you want to know you are going to die beforehand or die suddenly without warning?
That's kind of a catch-22 because we already know that we're gonna die.
That's true.
Yeah, I think people are numb to that one because people just assume they're gonna live forever, right? And yeah, you already know that you're gonna die, and then you need to focus on what am I gonna do. Like people always go, well, if I was gonna die tomorrow, I would do this, and I'm like, well, I mean, technically you're gonna die in a few years, so you should probably start doing some stuff, and do some cool things. If you had to guess, what do you think would be the most likely way you'll die? Well, I'll probably stop breathing.
My heart will stop.
Yeah, that's that's a weird question. I don't like the sick question. So
why don't we as a species take more advantage of the fact that we have almost infinite knowledge available to us?
Well, we do. I mean, there are people in the world who do that. Some people don't because they're immature or they just don't care.
But we can argue that 90% of the population does not.
No. What's funny is people always go, oh, dolphins are the smartest thing. Octopuses are the smartest thing. Well, obviously humans are the smartest on the planet. The being inhabiting the human is. But what's crazy is people don't utilize it. They spend their time doing things that a monkey could do. Chasing a ball, playing sports was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I remember one time. Did I tell you about the time I went to the game? I'm not a big sports guy, and I went to a football game because a bunch of guys were going, and I was like, all right, man, let's do it. Pretzels, beer, I'm all in. So we go, and I'm watching the game, and the dad is in the parking lot throwing the ball to the dog. And he's like, yeah, good boy, get it. That's my boy, get the ball. And he's throwing the dog, the ball, and the dog's getting it and bringing it back. And then we go into the game, and there's the same dude in the stand, and his kid is playing football, and he's yelling to his kid, yeah, that's my boy, get it, good boy, go get the ball. And I was like, oh, no. I just had one of those epiphany moments where I was like, wow, people literally treat the child or the human, their family, just like a dog.
Well, that's why they have a kid, because they're bored, right?
But that's the point, though, is that they're not differentiating between animal and child. It's just a thing.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. I've heard grown adults with children, homes in their names, say that they love their dog more than their kids.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I don't know how you even have a conversation after that.
Yeah, I don't either. So there's that. But I think, yeah, the possibility that you can be a great human being and explore like the depths of intellect and learn all the things in the universe, that's up to you. It's all in your brain. Yeah. It's you, man. Your brain's a computer. Your mind knows everything that's in the universe. Everything.
So then what do you think holds 90% of the population back?
Laziness. In times of need, that's when you create. And what they do is people have enough to where they're comfortable, so they don't need anything. They want things, but they don't need anything. And so, I mean, show me a person who needs some food, and I'll show you a person who's going to find some food. You know what I mean? But that was the beginning. In the beginning, God said, let there be light. Well, it's because there was nothing. If there's nothing, you're going to make something, right? But let's say God already had light, right? And he's just sitting there in light. Well, he wouldn't really need light. So he wouldn't create that, right? So that's a weird thing. Let's see. What else we got?
What would genetically change What would you genetically change about humans to make them a better species?
Ooh, okay, can we be funny on this one? Chicken wings. Yeah,
You've been talking about this for too long.
yeah, that's good stuff. Nah, I think, man, I'm torn on this one because I try to be silly and be funny because I don't ever want this show to get really mundane to where people don't want to listen. But what I really want to say is this: you can change yourself genetically by thought, and we know that it's scientific. Though you can read the white papers on it, look it up. It's already done. This is a real thing, and then people doubt it. They're just like, yeah, whatever. But it's true. You can. You can do anything that you want. You just have to believe and have faith and do that thing. That's what the mind is for. Mm-hmm. So, if you could genetically alter anything in a human being, is that the question?
Yeah.
What would it be?
What would you genetically change about humans?
I would try to make the fatty brain in a human being be able to fire quicker, process information faster, store more. I mean, that would be the big thing, right? Obviously, be able to get rid of those. I can't remember what the caps were on the chromosomes, but get rid of those, right?
Or no, it was.
Oh yeah, keep them from shrinking up. Yeah, so that the life expectancy was longer. Therefore, you could store more information and process more information. That would be good. I think that the human being is extraterrestrial in nature. The brain and mind are. So what I would change would be the ability to focus on that. The other things are simple. Food and diet, you can do all that yourself. Exercise. What else you got?
Does jealousy have a value in driving humans to improve themselves, or is it a purely negative emotion?
I don't even know what that means. Does jealousy do anything? I don't think that there is a jealousy. I think jealousy is just a made-up scenario. I think.
I mean, it's talked about in the Bible quite a few times.
I think that's a very Western culture type thing. I don't see jealousy as being a thing in nature. I think wanting something else, right? But I don't see being jealous as something like you wish you were somebody else or you wish you had what somebody else had.
Isn't jealousy the same as envy? Or very similar?
I don't. No, not really. I don't see that. That's not a valuable question to me. That seems like a very superficial, shallow question. So I'm not really into that. But I think the questions that are more important is like, is suffering a necessary part of the human condition? What would people who never suffered be like? Right? That's the big one. What would they be like if they never suffered? Well, they would definitely be more giving, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you have no suffering, you're not attached to anything. So there would be no jealousy or envy, or basically there would be none of the sins. There'd be no gluttony or usury or lies or murders because you have nothing that there is that you want that everyone else doesn't have. Yeah. And so no one suffers, right? So basically there's that. And that's a weird thing because that just came out of my mouth. And as it came out of my mouth, I immediately said, wow, that sounds like socialism and capitalism. But that's not what I'm talking about. So that's one person being in control of everybody else's suffering. Right? But yeah, that's crazy. So I like this. Is intelligence or wisdom more useful?
Intelligence.
So intel is when you're downloaded with information, but wisdom is how to use the information. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need intelligence to have wisdom. Because if you
right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like intel is like I downloaded mathematics into your head, and you're like, cool, I have mathematics. What the hell do I use that for? Right? And wisdom's like, wow, if you have mathematics, we could build a house out of this tree. So that's cool. I think that's important. Okay, what else? Dude, this guy Kevin, bro, I'm just here to tell you, you have the weirdest Instagram page I've ever seen. But it says, what life-altering things should every human ideally get to experience at least once in their life? Near death.
Near death experience, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that'll sober you up quick.
Yeah.
man, that'll really slap you in the face with a wet towel, right? So there's that.
That adrenaline that you'll never have again in your entire life.
Yeah, that's that rebirth thing, right? Yeah, I think if everybody experienced that one, they'd be like, oh shit, man, I got to get my shit straight, right? Man, how about this? What 2 questions would you ask to get the most information about who a person truly is?
That's a great question.
Man, okay, look, I'm going to ask that again, and anybody listening to the radio show, message me and tell me what you think, because I'm interested on that one. So, what 2 questions would you ask to get the most information about who a person truly is?
Do you already know yours?
Oh, I don't know. That's a rough one.
Right now, I know how both of us work. We're trying to think of all the people we know.
No, I'm sitting here thinking, if someone asked me, how would you get the most information out of me, and I'd be able to tell you who I really am, in like 2 questions, right?
Oh, that would not work for me, so I don't know. Because you're more of an open book. Someone can say, hi, how are you? And you'll tell your whole life story there.
Yeah, I'm like, hi, who are you? And you're like, I don't know. I'm out.
I'm like,
why are you asking me?
Yeah,
Get away.
Fuck are you?
Yeah, get away from me. I think, what 2 questions would you ask to get the most information about a person and who they truly are?
I guess that is a thing, though. We kind of just answered it right there. If you asked, hi, how are you, to you, you would give your whole life story. They would know all about you, and then they know who you are.
Yeah.
If you asked me, you would get a completely different answer, and you would already know how I work.
Yeah. I would always be like, who are you on the inside? That would be the big one. Who are you? Who are you really?
We play this game a lot, though, because we go to different places, like we have a coffee shop a couple doors down, and we'll talk to the baristas, but most of the time, people seem pretty empty.
Yeah.
I think our biggest question we ask people is, what do you do outside of your job? Which is usually school or nothing.
Or smoke weed.
Literally nothing, they say. And then our other question we ask people is, what do you think about on a regular basis? Also nothing.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
They don't even know. They'll tell you, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's a hard question, because I think people are not really people anymore, especially like we've talked about after COVID happened. No one talks anymore. No one even has any new ideas. No one's creating art. No one's doing projects.
Well, they did that on purpose, because what they do is, by separating everybody and making people not hang out together and not communicate together, and making the major form of communication texting and messaging and things like that, is that everything is run through the internet. Yeah. And so while you're on there, you're being downloaded constantly with other information they want you to have. So you're turning into a different person. You're turning into the internet.
I think that would be one of my question number 1 was, what do you think about on a constant basis if I wanted to get to know somebody? My other one,
that's good.
I still don't know. But because that one's such a big one, if you asked me that, I'd be like, art, religion, podcast, what do I want to accomplish today?
I guess you could ask somebody, what do you think reality is? And the answer that they gave you would be what they think life and the world is. So then you pretty much know what they think.
You're asking these crazy questions, though. I think you have to be a little bit more shallow to find people out, because that's kind of at the level we're at right now.
That might just be the people that you encounter. There are people out there who are thinking on a daily how the world really works, how deep this reality rabbit hole really goes.
Yeah, but if you're gonna ask someone 2 questions to find out who they are, that one's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think I would really retain a whole lot of information from most people asking that question. Even the guy that came in and had a whole conversation with us, if you asked him what reality is, I don't think he'd really have a solid answer, because they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't think about those questions. You can ask them about politics, you can ask them about the weather, you can ask them about the Bible, art, But if they don't think about something specifically, they won't have an answer.
You need to. Okay, this is a good one. So, does knowledge have intrinsic value, or does it need to have a practical use to have value?
It needs to have practical use.
So, you could know everything in the world, but if you can't use it, it doesn't do you any good.
No.
Right. What activities cause you to feel like you're living life to the fullest?
Learning activities.
Learning.
Well, that's what makes you happy, so.
Living life to the fullest for me is, I think, when you want to do something, doing it regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
Just doing it and literally being totally aware of yourself doing it.
Yeah, probably creating something passionately or exercising. Like, not just exercising, but I mean like training exercising.
Yeah.
Like sweating, I think I'm gonna pass out.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things are living life.
Ooh, here's a good one. Oh, man. Oh, a lady wrote this one. This is crazy. What is the biggest waste of human potential?
Oh, we were actually talking about this today. For people who blatantly have something, they have a skill or a light in them for something, and they just completely waste it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
What is the biggest waste of human potential? I think one of the things I see on a daily basis and now today's society is the human body. I think people waste the potential of a human body. A human body's amazing. Fucking resilient, man. You're talking about a Tarzan, Conan, Superman, barbarian, super monkey, right? Super bionic monkey. And you're talking about a human form that can run, jump, flip. Have you seen those parkour?
Yeah.
The parkour guys that run and jump, do all these crazy things, or X game guys. This shit's crazy. MMA fighters, Jesus, man. You know, you're talking about human beings can do all this stuff, and they waste it every day. They don't even try to achieve it, right? There's people who can run 100 miles, swim, climb mountains, climb a sheer rock face like a fucking monkey. It's crazy, right? So I think that humans waste their potential as a animal, as that animal body.
That's pretty crazy. What I was going more for was everyone's born into different situations. We don't like to think that it's an accident. So if you're born into a nice family, let's say, and you look nice and you have family has connections, and then you just become a scumbag who smokes weed and is an asshole, well then that's wasted potential.
Yeah.
Versus for someone who's maybe in a bad house but sees a way out, they get their way out and do whatever, or they have a different experience because that's what they were born into and basically born to be.
Yeah, like somebody who's born and they just look like a supermodel naturally. They just accidentally are born to look like that. And then they end up working at Wendy's their entire life. You're like, man, you could have literally been in any movie. You could have done anything. Just go do it.
Completely ruin themselves
in
any other way because people do it all the time. I know like a handful of people that could be supermodels, or they could have had a well-off job.
Yeah, or those people who are like just naturally hilarious and they have like a great voice and they're just funny as hell. Every time they open their mouth, everybody's busting out laughing. And you're like, oh, you could have been one of the greatest comedians ever, you know? And then they end up like just driving a truck for a living or something crazy, you know? So yeah, that's crazy. But I do think the potential on a deep level is people waste the potential of knowing themselves and knowing the universe. And then they also waste the potential of their own human body. The mind can heal the body. The mind can make the body strong. The mind can know everything. And then people just tell themselves they can't, right? But that's pretty wasted. But let's see this one. What do you think your future self will remember about you now? Oh, man, I hate that question. I hate that one. I don't like it. I think about it all the time. There used to be this it was like a coffee mug meme type thing, where it said when you die, the you that you could have been will stand and look at the you that you are and be like, damn it, man, you really fucked up.
Yeah.
You know? And so I always remember that, right? And that's what I think. I think that my future self will be like, man, you could have done so much more, right? So I try to talk to him on a daily basis. It sounds a little schizophrenic, but I try to talk to myself in the future all the time. And my future me is like, hey, man, come on. You can get up. You can do this. I'm dying, and I'm looking back in time, and I'm telling you, bro, get up off the couch. You got this. Let's go do this thing. You know, you're not tired. We'll sleep later, I promise. You know, you're going to sleep for a really long time one day.
Yeah.
You know, forever. So
Future me in whatever situations, like, I'm getting further away.
yeah. And people are always like, oh, yeah, but I need a nap. I'm really tired. I need this. And I'm like, man, most people's problem is you're malnutritioned, man. You need to eat better food and drink more water. The human body works great on about 6 hours of sleep a day. 6 hours is perfect. People that say they need 8 hours a day, total falsehood, man. 7 to 8 hours a day, you actually start making yourself more tired, and your body becomes sore. So 6 hours a day, I think, is perfect. And eating and drinking make you feel like you have more energy, and avoid things like coffee, which is one of my favorites. But I'm here to tell you that coffee will literally wear you out. Sugar is the worst. Sugar will put you on a roller coaster, and in 6 hours of eating breads and sugars and sugary drinks and shit like that, you'll be worn out and need a nap just from the sugar crash. You know? Yeah, that's really crazy. But let's see what else we got. There was some good ones on here. Hold on. What do you think existed before the universe was created? Ooh, that's a good trick question. What do you think? What you got?
Doesn't that just go back to the mind question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The mind answer.
Some of the questions, like, okay, you guys send them in, and I want to tell you, I'm not going to say your names over the air because I don't think that's cool, but I'm going to make fun of you anyway and say, listen, bro, there was nothing before something was created. Because if there was something, then nothing was created. It was just reconfigured.
Yeah, your mind begged for it. So
Yeah.
that was that whole thing.
You asked for it. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, right? Or in the beginning, right? You begged for it. What in life is truly objective and not subjective? Ooh.
Art.
That's funny. Good good music. I don't like that. What's truly objective and not subjective? Oh man, heat and cold, right?
Yeah.
People are like, well, I think it's hot, I think it's cold. No, it's literally this temperature.
Math.
Math is objective. Yeah. Pure math is, for sure. Yeah. Is it possible for a human to fathom the true depths of reality or existence? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a wild one.
As long as, I even got it on my hand, as long as you focus, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, just remove yourself. That's the fasting, meditation. And really think about it. Why am I here? What am I? What is this? How did I get in this body? Right? Why am I in this body? Why does it look this way? Should I change the way I am? Change who I am? We had that conversation today about the caterpillar and the butterfly.
Yeah.
A caterpillar is this cool insect, right? And then it makes this cocoon, it gets in there, it dies, turns into a gelatinous
Gel.
nothing.
Like liquid.
Liquid.
In the cocoon, it goes from a caterpillar, basically, like you were saying.
Yeah, it rots and dies. Yep.
Turns into a liquid.
And then turns into a totally different animal.
Completely different.
Yeah, different insect, different species, different everything. And then out comes a butterfly. So, and when we asked artificial intelligence, how does a caterpillar become a butterfly? It told us humans aren't ready to know that. So to me, that lets me know my suspicions were correct, which means I think that it's the mind. The caterpillar was tired of being on the ground. The caterpillar died. It imagined itself as being able to leave the ground and to fly and be free. And that is how it came out.
And how can you react to that for all the people who say, like, oh, that can't be right. A caterpillar can't think. It doesn't think.
Right. I say, well, it thought enough to become a butterfly.
Yeah.
Right. So, right? Who else made it be a butterfly? Right. And that's it. That, you almost wanted to answer something. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's the caterpillar by himself. The caterpillar isn't in a society. He didn't go to school. He doesn't have a belief system. He just died in a cocoon. And then out of that gelatinous death, in his own little universe, he decided he wanted to come back as something else. So he did. And I think that's a good learning curve for humans, is to remember that you're here, but at any point in your own little universe, I'm not talking about your family, friends, the society you live in, whatever, just you alone. At any point, you can recreate and be reborn from the mess that you are, right? And become something else. Tomorrow, you can wake up tomorrow. Maybe you go to sleep tonight and your name is Steve and you're a taxi driver or an Uber driver, right? And you wake up in the morning and you're like, no, not today, man. Today I'm Kevin. And Kevin is a chef. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for a chef job. And that's what chefs do. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to have a little baguette and I'm going to, critique the bread. And then I'm going to go home and watch a chef show. And yesterday he was an Uber guy. Yesterday he was, whatever, Terrence the Uber guy. So I think you can be reborn at any point. But the cool thing about the butterfly and the caterpillar was the butterfly, when it comes back, doesn't even have the same traits as the caterpillar. It doesn't eat the same food. It doesn't live on the same thing. Now it flies in the air. It has different goals, different eyes. It sees the world differently, right? It has a different tongue. So it senses the world in a different way. So you have to remember that when you're reborn, you see the world differently. You can't come back tomorrow as a different person and still try to kind of act like that caterpillar, because you're not the caterpillar anymore. Now you're the new thing. So, and you can do that as many times as you want. You're magical, man. If you don't like that butterfly, hey, man, wrap him up in a cocoon, try again, right? So, and you can be anything you want to be. And no one around can tell you that you can't, because it's you and the caterpillar by yourself in that cocoon. Just like you, at the end of your life, you're going to go in a coffin. No one else is going in there, okay? So it's up to you to decide, are you going to come back as something else, right? Totally up to you, nobody else. So you can do that at any point. I mean, to me, that's one of the coolest analogies on the planet Earth. I love caterpillars and butterflies, man. It's the coolest thing. Is math, this is cool, is math something that humans created or something we discovered? Is looking at reality mathematically an accurate representation of how things work?
Well, the second question I'd have to agree with, but the first one, I would have to say we created.
No.
No?
Hell no. Well, first you have to define what mathematics is. So is math something we created or something we discovered? Well, the symbols that we gave to numerical values, right? Like the symbol for 1 or the symbol for 2, the numbers. Those shapes, the Persians did that, right? Those pesky little Persian guys, creating mathematical formulas and stuff. So those symbols did, but in the animal kingdom, right? In the molecule kingdom, particle physics, they perform mathematical equations all day long. Animals do it, amoebas do it, oxygen and hydrogen do it. When they create so many molecules, go with so many other molecules, and it creates a different element. So I think that the universe is mathematics. And
you created the universe.
Right. Well, that's the human mind.
Yeah, so then
Well, not the human mind. I think, because it's all semantics. Humans, the word human actually means, it's why it sounds like humane, is they're an animal that has been trained, right, to be a slave. Okay, that's what the word human means. Okay, just like Gentile is to make this wild animal gentle. Okay, or to make this wild animal humane. Okay, so that's what humans have been taught to be. But the actual person, the pink monkey, right, the hairless monkey that we are, or pink or brown or whatever color you happen to be, the hairless monkey, right, is an all-intelligent part of the universe and has an intelligent brain. And unless an alien came here and taught us these things, then you know everything in the universe. You just need to focus, So there's that. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Man, that question's long. I don't even know if I want to read this one. What is the best path to find truth? Science, math, art, philosophy, or something else? I'm going to say mathematics.
yeah.
Yeah. So with mathematics, we can then know science, we can then know art and philosophy. So all those things came from math. As more and more is being discovered about quantum physics, we become less and less able to comprehend the nature of reality. That's fucked up.
Oh, that's a fun one. That just reminded me about our conversation about the Schrodinger's cat theory,
Oh, yeah.
and then how we came up with a new theory. So take this one on. If you were in, or you opened a box and it was surrounded by mirrors, and you closed the box, would there still be light trapped in the mirrored box?
Right.
And that was the new theory that we had for Schrodinger's cat on a quantum level.
I always go back to my default answer on that. If I'm not in the box doesn't exist. That's pretty good, right? So,
How do you know if you're not in the box or not?
well, because I can't see my reflection in the mirror.
But you can once the box is opened.
What? Okay, hold on. Let's go back to this. So, if there's a room made out of mirrors,
Yeah.
right, and I'm in the room, I can see myself. Okay. Once I leave the room and there's nothing in the room but mirrors, what is the image in the mirror? Right. Yeah. There is no image. There is no
Well,
mirror.
If that's why I said on a quantum level, wouldn't if your light was trapped in the box,
Yeah.
but the box was closed, would your image still be there?
No. Because there would have to be light in the box.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if there's light in the box, you'd be able to focus that. You'd be able to see the light source in the mirrors. There would be a dot of light
But
somewhere.
that's why it's a box that's closed. If you trapped the light in the box, would the image still be there? That's why it's a Schrodinger's cat thing.
Right.
Because you'd have to open the
You'd
box.
have to open it to see. Yeah. Well, I think that's what life is. So that's a good way to end this whole segment, right? So, okay, imagine this one. Life is like a box made out of mirrors. Okay? When you're in it, you see reflections. But if you're not in it, there is nothing.
And you are light.
Right. And so you're the light. And without that, there's nothing. So that is consciousness. Consciousness is you in the box of mirrors. And life is a reflection of what you think, and you are the light. So your consciousness is making this happen. If you think life is amazing, it is. If you think you can do everything, you can. If you think life is terrible, it is. So just remember, you're in a box of mirrors all by yourself. Now what do you do? All right, awesome. That's a great night. Think about that one. Text us a bunch of stuff. Don't forget, Num27 is the best tattoo numbing cream on the planet Earth. Definitely buy it. Go to num27.com. Stuff is amazing. We worked really hard on that product. You can get all of our books if you go to Amazon. Ebooks, Amazon Books. You can get the hardback of the new one that just came out, Prayer Book. That book is awesome. Just look up Cassidy Aerosmith and 1692 on Amazon Books. And that's it for the night.
Yeah, I hope I would love to get feedback. I'm kind of curious on how the more psychological episode went rather than the more science and AI and religion.
Yeah, see what other people thought about that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so anyway, for tonight, fare thee well.
Fare thee well. Have a great night.
Thank you.